Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. In here, we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, ATH Ellis. Welcome to another our weekly show. My name is Abby. I'm a Healthy Living NP. How are you guys doing? Hope all is well. This is our Tuesday show. If you're new here, this is Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page. I broadcast also to YouTube, and also if you're watching from Focus in Liberia, welcome. If you were regular members, regular followers, welcome again. Okay, I hope you guys having a good, beautiful day. It's the end of April, and I'm just doing like a little chat today. It's not going to be anything long. How's the weather in your neck of the woods? It's beautiful. I think it's like 80 degrees. It went from like spring was 50 something degrees the other day, and now it's like 80. But the breeze is blowing, so it's beautiful. So just give me 1 second here. Okay. Alrighty. So as you can see, the topic is my view on the trending health topics in our community. If you're Liberian, know Liberian people, related to Liberian person, or just interested in knowing what's going on in the community, uh, feel free to listen. Okay, so some of the things to talk about, we had issues that has been trending on Facebook and social media, and people have been asking me to talk about it. And they're like, "Are you a health person? Why can't you talk about it?" And you have everybody else talking about it, so why can't you talk about it? So people do things for other reasons too. And because I'm a health person, and most specifically, I'm a provider, whatever I say on here, regardless of what I say, by the way, let me say my disclaimer: I'm a provider, but I'm not your provider. So please do not make any changes to your regimen without checking with your own provider. With that being said, even though I say that, my words still carry a lot of weight, as with anybody else who's a provider and all that, clinician, basically nurse, physical therapist, all of that. But it's like as far as somebody who also diagnose, that can be a problem when you just mouth off on Facebook because you see topics and all that. So I've been very careful in addressing anything that I don't need to put my head into. So there's this young girl on here. I don't know how old she is. She looks like she's probably in her late 20s, early 30s. And she looked like she seems like she's going through some life changes, life challenges right now. Okay. So, and there's been so many blogs and bloggers and topics and so many things have been written about her, and people are like just throwing out all these mental health diagnoses and she's this one, she's that one, and she may be this. And I talked about how we go about diagnosing people and all that. So she's not my patient. All right. And even if she was my patient, she would have to give me permission to talk about her story before I can talk about her. I don't know anything else about her besides what's on social media. Okay. So I can't sit there and say, okay, I think this is what's going on with her, even put that in any kind of comments. Because first of all, like I said, I talked about the fact that when we diagnosing people, we talk the old cards where we talk when you come in with your symptoms, we talk about how the onset, when did it start, how long has it been going on, how long does it last, what makes it worse, what makes it better, what have you taken the medication before that. So she's not my patient, and I don't know anything about her again. So but basically is, and when I say that, it's like I don't know about her medical history. Okay, I don't know anything about her medical history. I don't know about her family history, her mother's history, her father's history, her first degree relatives like her brothers and sisters, and maybe grandparents. I don't know anything about that. All right. I don't know anything about her education. All right. I don't, and not saying that because if she's not highly educated, so that could be, but the educational level also plays a part in that too. All right. I haven't done any blood work on, not even just putting her aside. I don't know anything about her blood work. Okay, because somebody could be exhibiting certain behaviors and all, and you're thinking, oh my God, right away, I know this person's like a mental illness and all. So, but it could be something else that's causing them to do that. So we do a series of blood work, okay, basic blood work before we go into more detailed blood work. And say, in case if you came to me, primary care provider, I'll have to do certain basic blood work and all that, follow up, And then if I need to do more blood work, then I send her over to, depending on what the blood work shows, I send her over to that pertinent person. Maybe she needs to go see a mental health person. Maybe she needs to go see a cardiologist. Maybe she needs to go see somebody, everything and anything else, because it could be like her, she could be anemic. Her blood could be, blood count could be very low. All right. If your blood count really low, especially somebody, a young female also, you're talking about, it could be something going on with the menstrual cycle, stuff like that. And if she's anemic, you're not getting enough blood, you're not getting enough and oxygen and all that. Things can make that happen. I have to do electrolytes, so potassium, sodium, liver numbers, all of that can also affect your kidney numbers, can also affect your behavior and all. What about your diabetic numbers? All of that. You could be like hyper, you could be hypo, all of that. Thyroid, I talked about the thyroid before. How all of that controls so many things in your body, that controls your hormones, whether you're male or female, it controls all of that. And that can also cause behavior problems too. Okay, but we just see that and we're like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. She's crazy. We it's just one thing, just one diagnosis. This person's crazy, and everybody just running with it. And of course, and you see people putting in the chat room or putting in the comment section, oh, she's probably bipolar and she's probably schizophrenic. And she's probably this, and it's like, whoa, slow down. Even if you know somebody who is like that doesn't mean that's what's going on with her. Slow down, stop labeling people, stop using the internet to diagnose people. And I also brought topics about how we use these dangers of using the internet to diagnose yourself and all that. So just imagine if you're using that to diagnose somebody else that's displaying certain behaviors. And it's dangerous in our community because even though we're the Liberians in larger community, a subset of a larger community, there's still stigma to any kind of mental illness, or there's stigma to any kind of thing that doesn't run in the norm. If it's not normal for us, then we kind of label it, and then it's that label is stuck with you for a very long time, because it's like everybody knows. Excuse me. Everybody knows, that's what it is, and oh, she's that person or he's that person, and nobody wants to look beside that. Even in a bigger culture, when you put an article up, you see people just read the article heading and they start commenting, and it's like, did you even read the article? Did you see the reason why this and that? But we live in a microwave society where we want everything to be given to us right away, and it should be the beginning, middle, and end, and we should just want to get to where we need to just do that. So it's very difficult. So that's the reason why I haven't really talked about it. And also, I can also say, I could talk about that and say, oh, I could get a lot of views, and it's a health forum. Most people don't watch health forum. I was just talking to my friends. I talk about health things and all that. It's not sexy. It's not gonna make people say, oh, let me watch that. And there's nothing wrong with those other entertainment bloggers, or this blogger or that blogger. I watch some of those things because sometimes I want to learn, sometimes I just want to relax and watch something else. I'm not the kind of person that just sit around and watch health shows all day. I was like always health in my mind. I need to be like clear my head sometimes. So, but it's important that we don't do that. Alrighty. And going back to her again, I hope she surrounds herself with people who really care about her, and was willing to help her off social media. And there are a lot of things already been, and she shows also on social media too. But I hope, because especially when it comes to anything with mental illness and all, there's a certain level of privacy that even with primary care provider. I remember when I used to ask my patients when they came from their psychologist or psychiatrist and all that, I said, you have to come with records, because if you want me to clear you for a procedure, or to clear you for school, or to do that and all, I need certain records from them. And it's like really protected. So to only give me things that I need to know. So then just imagine people coming on and saying this. And I know after when people watch this, I'm going to get cussed out. I know that. So they're going to subscribe me every way, which way, and all that. But you can't say anything to me that haven't been said before. So take your back shot. Right. So it's just important. And it's not just because of her. It's just that it goes to the fact that our community, we have to be very careful. I mean, you're diagnosing people and you don't have the credentials to do that. All right. You can't just sit there and say, oh, yeah, I read about this and I read about that, and this is what she has, or this is what my family member has. And take your family member to go see the doctor. They need blood work. They need other things. Some people, they could be acting a certain way. They may need a CAT scan of the brain to see, God forbid, there's nothing else going on in the brain that's causing the behavior changes and all. Okay, so there's so many things. What were their childhood like? What kind of trauma did they go through? What kind of trauma did they just experience? What kind of trauma that they have kept so deep down inside that it may be manifesting, and they can't talk to people who will really listen to them. And it's important that when they're talking to you about that, it's not being shown on social media, because people pick from that. It's not, oh yeah, you said this, and they take part of the, whatever's going on, and they make their blogs or they make their videos, and and most of the time people don't care about what you're doing. Like 80% of people just want to hear your problems and then run with it and tell somebody else. And the 20% of people who really care, they might care and all that too. But I always tell people, if some people are not stakeholders in your life, like if anything should happen to you today, how will those people, how will it affect those people? So think about the people in your life, how it will affect them, like their livelihood. Would they be able to go to work? Would they be able to go to school? Is it going to change where they live and all that? So if those people are not that important to you in your life, you shouldn't be telling them your deepest, darkest secrets. You shouldn't be. Okay. And especially when it comes to like health information and anything like, okay, I'm anxious about something went on in my life, and I'm also depressed about something, I'm also this and all that, because most of the people who are listening, they're just going to run and tell somebody else. Basically, that's what it is. So guard your health information. But to all the people out there who are putting things on social media and all, and I understand most of you, you may have good intentions, but please, the best you can is to like not put it on. Okay, because we've already heard almost all of it now, but that's up to you. I can tell you what to put on. I can tell you what to put on social media. That's up to you. Okay. So, and also when it comes to mental health, when the person is an adult, that makes it so much difficult, because if you're trying to help this person and next thing you know, the person shuts you off, and they usually will hang around people who would just listen to what they have to say and say, oh no, there's nothing wrong with you. But most of these people don't know what's going on at home, everything they've been going through and all that. So get trusted people around you, and don't put too many people, don't trust too many people either, because hey, like I said, and all those things on the internet, they never go away. They never go away. So 5, 10 years from now, after you've gotten the help that you need to get, then it's like, if I did Google your name, and this is what your employer is going to be seeing. This is what other people are going to be seeing. And, especially if you're a woman, they give you no breaks. They show you no grace. They show you no grace. For a man, they'll be like, oh, yeah, he was going through this, but they show you no grace. Okay, so some of the dangers, using the internet to diagnose yourself or somebody. Let me put my glasses on now, okay? I don't want to be here too long. It's already 12 minutes. Okay, when you use the internet to diagnose, again, like I told you guys, there are some things out there, the symptoms that can mimic different kind of diseases. Like you can say, oh my God, I'm having chest pain, or I'm having this. And I go in the room there to go and see you. I'm going to be asking you, is the chest pain just right in your left chest wall where your heart is? Is it going up and down, up in your jaw and the back? And also for men and women having chest pain, a heart attack, the signs can be totally different too. Because for some women, they'd be like, oh, I just feel like I want to burp, and I just feel a little indigestion here and there. And you could be having like a full-blown heart attack. Or it could just be, indigestion, and you have some reflux disease, and we have to give you the medications. So those are the kind of things when you're credentialed to access kind of information. Because being a nurse, I was credentialed to do certain things, and then being the provider, I'm asking even more detailed questions in order to come to a diagnosis. Okay, but you're just sitting on the internet and you're just saying stuff because you don't have credentials, so you don't have anything to worry about, because the state or the countries or the county or your country is not coming after you, because you can just say anything. And I just ask everybody to be very careful about that, even though you don't have to worry about being penalized for using your license the way you're not supposed to be, and because you don't have a license, so you can just say anything. But please, let's be careful, everybody. Okay. So some of the ways when you're diagnosing yourself, self-diagnosing somebody, you become overly certain. You may be convinced about self-diagnosis, and then you have trouble believing a different diagnosis from your provider. People do that. They'll come in with their booklet and say, oh, this is what I read on the internet. And we want you to be educated about it. We do want to even give you education and sites to go on. But when you come in and saying this is it, and I keep telling people, when you look at an article, it tells you this is a general information article. You still have to follow with your provider to make sure. And in this case, I said provider, meaning your doctor, PA, NP, and all that. Okay. They still have to look at everything else that we have to do: blood work, medical history, family history, surgical history, all of that, before we can say, okay, this is what's going on. You may be right. We're not saying you're wrong. You may be right, but we still have to go through all of that to come to a conclusion. Okay. And sometimes you scare yourself too, because if you're sitting there, oh my God, I read this and it told me this is why I got, I'm tired dying next month, I'm dying the next this and all that too. So you scare yourself needlessly if you don't have to. Even with me, even with medical students, nursing students and all that, every time we went to school, we learned about a different system. We were sure this is what we had. We'd be like, oh, yes, I know this is what I have. Alrighty. Unnecessary tests. You come to your providers, your doctor's office, and you're sitting there, oh my God, I need to get tested for this because this is what I need to go do. And sometimes you feel like, oh my God, why am I not getting tested for all this? Okay, because my doctor or my providers doesn't know what they're doing. Not necessarily, okay, because you could, this is again, we have to do all of that before we start ordering tested, because it's like you can just go ahead and order tests. What is it that you're looking for that before we order the test, and then saying, okay, now do we need to do additional testing based on the results? All right. Unreliable sources. All right. People go on that, and anybody can post anything online. Remember that. You can go there, something that look like legit. Even now they have AI people that, AI, that I see many things on Facebook, and I see people reposting it where they think is like Denzel Washington's talking, or Halle Berry's talking about how this or this person, but how they're talking about they cured this. And you're thinking it's them talking, but it's not. It's all AI. You see the mouth and all. If you're really, discerning, you can see the mouth, the different things, and you're thinking, oh yeah, I can stop my medications because this person said it, because this person is very influential, but that's not safe. All right. So be very discerning, especially when you're reposting things too. All right. And confirmation bias. All right. So it's like whether you're worried or that you're dying, and all, if they tell you that, you'd be like, oh no, nope, nope. This is what I've read. This is what my friend said that, and this is what this other person said, and this is what I have. And then there's no way of like moving you from that and telling you, no, this is not what's going on. So it's important that you're not using the internet to diagnose yourself. Again, we want you to be very educated on your symptoms and all, because when you come to the doctor's office, all right, or even if you're talking to somebody who that's that medical person in your family, the first thing I usually ask people, what's going on, when did it start? Start looking at, when did it start, what happened, what triggered this, do you know what happened, like anything in your childhood, start talking about that, especially when it comes to like mental issues and stuff like that. Okay, so it's just very important. And then we also had another girl recently, beautiful young girl, who I don't know yet because I can't find anything online to say that, definitively that she, unalived herself. So people are saying, and then also throwing things out again. Oh yeah, just this and this and that, and they just saying all these things again. And because we live in like again, a subset of a larger community, and we come from a place to where it's like we the information was not readily available, and not there's so much information out there, so it's easy to sit there and think, oh okay, I can do that, I can say this, and I feel comfortable saying that because I've read it here, I read it there and all. But you cannot diagnose people if you don't have the credentials. You can think that's what they have, but don't be so, this is what's going on. And if you see somebody who needs help out there, you can talk to them. But if they're an adult and all, it's very difficult. So try to give them the resources and say, I hope that, I'm going to be praying for you if you're a praying person and all, but I pray that you get the help that you need. First, go to your primary care provider if you have one. All right. And go and get the help that you need. Get your blood work done. Get this done. Get all that done. They have to do some testing. And then your primary care provider will send you to other people and all. Of course, if this person is in severe crisis and you feel like, oh my God, this person really needs to get help and all, then most places have a crisis center. You can call and say, this person's behaving in a way where I find them to be in danger of harming themselves or harming somebody else. But they made the rules and they made the law so strict because a lot of people were taking advantage of it. All right. As soon as you didn't like somebody, or let's say a spouse or a sibling or a parent or a child, if you didn't like somebody or you wanted something somebody had or whatever the disagreement was, right away you call the crisis center, or you call this person and say, oh, this person's displaying this behavior, they're displaying that behavior. Next thing you know, that person's locked up for some psych issues. And next thing, when the person comes out, their savings all gone, or everything that they ever treasure is all gone because somebody took advantage of them. So that's why they made the criteria so strict that when you're calling for this, they're going to be asking so many questions, and also some people are going to be questioning you. Okay, so basically, and I know they're collecting money for the other young lady who unalived herself supposedly. So if I think her name is on, it's on Facebook there, so you can look at them. I'm trying not to put too many names in here, but you guys know, in the Liberian community, you know who I'm talking about. So I don't know if I have any comments there. Let me just look here. If you have any questions or comments after the show, you can always ask it, and then I can Answer that. Okay. Please give me a like. I know some people talk about the views and views and all. I'm not interested in the views right now. It's just my main thing is about helping and putting awareness out there. Okay. There's the dangers of diagnosing people if you're not credentialed to do so. Right. So let me see this person. Monique Kitchen. Oh my God. Hello. Money Boy, how are you? Nice seeing you here. Okay. Jackie Jackson says, so true. Yes, it is. And Jackie Jackson said, let me turn this off. I'm sorry. Sometimes an individual are so afraid to fully describe the full sentence before the unknown of the family history. That is true, and yeah, and sometimes, especially in our community, where you sit there and you don't know, it's like, oh, we knew Uncle this was doing that, and then all. And sometimes it's like it's find trusted people. That's the important thing. Find trusted people again, because you don't want to be saying, I'm going through depression, and growing up, what are you depressed about? You got a roof on your head. You know how many people back home in Africa want to be in your place right now? Go sit down somewhere, And it's not like the city were being mean. Our parents or guardians were being mean, and that's just the way they were raised too. You were just happy to have, a roof over your head and all. And plus we believe in different things. So I believe in, higher power. I believe in God. I'm not spiritual, like some people, who will quote a Bible verse every time you say hi to them. But I mean, they're also believing sometimes they're African signs. I was just telling my cousin, oh, the bird died in front of my house. And I'm like, okay, why did it die in front of my house? I poured the bleach on there and I sit there and then I said a prayer, no weapons formed against me shall prosper. And then I turn around and I cussed it out. I'm like, cuss out the evil spirits. And also it's like, so there's certain things we believe, the growing up and we heard from our ancestors, our grandparents and all that. So, but the most important thing, and there's nothing wrong with like, believing those things as long as you don't get carried away with them. Like they say, if you're pregnant, don't look out in the dark. You see the souls of barren women will come after you and take your baby. That's what causes and your miscarriages and all. So it's like, oh God. So, but most of those things though, but it's just important. Let me see if I have any more questions. River says, oh, sorry. Hi, Abby. Hi, River says, bro, how are you? But no, so to just close up and everything, I don't want to make this long. I already did. And, don't try diagnosing people if you're not credentialed to do so, meaning that you don't have the license to do so. Okay. Even if you are licensed to do so, you don't, especially, that. And you've seen, for those of you who know people who are like in the medical field and all, and who are providers, you've seen that we haven't been really interacting in all these different chats and all that, because our words carry a lot of weight. And even though we're talking to Liberian community and all, we're still licensed in America. So our license is still regulated by America. So they're not going to say because you're talking to Liberian people and this and that. So we have to be all careful. Even if I wasn't, I still not going to just put down my ethics just because I'm talking about my people. But please, if you have somebody in your family or somebody, be very mindful of that. Be very discreet, and don't just come on social media. And if you're going to talk to them, if you're going to try to give them the help that they need, do as much as possible to do away from social media already. And especially if you're genuine about it. And I hope this girl that I'm talking about, I hope she gets the help that she needs. I hope she goes to a primary care provider first, get the blood work, get everything else, and then do a full medical checkup first, and then they can follow up from there. Again, also her triggers, whatever things she went through in her childhood, whatever thing she went through now. There's so many things that go on that we don't know about that can trigger change of life issues and all. So I don't want to just sit there and say she's this, she's that. I can't even say that because, like, again, she's not my patient. So. River says, Rosa, do you think those traditional beliefs helped our growth and development? I, yeah, I mean, in a way it did. It kind of like, I mean, especially for some of us who believe certain things, and then we went to medical school, and the medical school went to NP school or nursing school and being healthcare social workers and all of that. I mean, it's like, you have to put certain things together, but I still kind of incorporate it in my daily care plan every once in a while, but because other people come from different cultures and they kind of incorporate it too. But as long as you're following evidence based, That's why my forum is always evidence based. Okay, so I always talk about evidence based. Like we used to say, you take the little cloth and put it on the baby's head, and if the baby's sneezing, that can help with hiccup. I used to do that with my coworkers. I'm like, just put that there, and that would help. I don't know if it helped adults, but my friends used to be like, yeah, these Africans, she knows. I guess so. And even with Vicks, we used to rub it inside our nostrils and everything else. I'm like, it doesn't need to go in the nostrils, but if it helped, if it didn't hurt, but there's certain things, there's certain traditional beliefs and all that still hurt. I don't like to look down anybody's religion, because I also incorporate my patients when they come to me to, when I used to be in primary care, even now when I'm talking to people, I kind of know you have to, that's all part of the social history in order to really care about the person, not just looking at the medical factors. You're also looking at the social, the psychosocial history and all that, to put all that together to paint a big picture to take care of this person. Okay, so basically, like I said, don't eat too much, don't eat no mashed potatoes, don't eat all this. Well, if you're Liberian or you're somebody who doesn't eat mashed potatoes, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I don't eat mashed potatoes. Okay, fine. That's good. I can just eat my rice. But then again, it's the same amount of carbohydrates and all that too. So you still have to incorporate a person's psychosocial and the cultural values into your plan of care. All right. So, okay, reverse, I guess. Let me see. Let me see here. In my village in Riverside County, all my uncles' children were born with epilepsy. Half of them died. They attributed it to witchcraft. How do you think? No, I would think that they were supposed to be putting on medications, because of all seizures, and they were supposed to be, back home. I remember with people who had epilepsy back home, we used to call it witchcraft. I remember there's a guy who, he and the other girl who lived, one lived where my uncle lived and one lived where we lived before. They used to get all, when they get all and go into the seizure and all that, but we just called it witchcraft. Like that person was witched, and they both of them kind of died early too, in their early 20s. So I'm not sure a lot of people died before that, but seizures is very, very important, and it can be very deadly and all that if you don't get on the right medication, and also get the blood work to make sure your levels are therapeutic and all, because you also got to be following with your primary care doctor. You have to be following with your neurologist and all of that. We had this young kid that was on the Disney Channel, and he had seizure. Nobody, but I mean, it's his private business, and he died of seizure in his sleep. So, and then, and sometimes you can drive if you haven't been seizure free for a year. You're not allowed to drive and all of that. So chances are more than likely they weren't getting the medications. They didn't get the medical attention that they needed because it wasn't available, or people were not aware. And so, of course, that's what you're going to attribute it to witchcraft. Just about everything was witchcraft back home anyway. So, but the more we know about it now, where things are being exposed, but sometimes too much information is not good, because people see that and they start diagnosing themselves and diagnosing everybody. And it's not just Liberian people that do that. The wider culture, they do that too. Oh yeah, this is it. And this is what I have, and all of that. So, so all right. So I think I'll go for one more, and then I will be done here. I think I restore everybody. My friend told me I turned into an American nurse and don't believe in voodoo. Who said that? Will liquor horrors. I mean, I mean, if it doesn't voodoo in the sense of like if it affects your the way you care for your patients, yes, because voodoo. I mean, I know too much about voodoo. I know it's like witchcraft, I guess that's what it is. But there's certain things where you think about it, it's like, no, 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 that's not what's going on. No, everything is not voodoo. That maybe that person just needs some blood work. That person could be going through, they could be dehydrated. They could have something going on with the thyroid. They could have something going to diabetics and all that. So it's not voodoo. Okay, I do believe there are evil spirits out there. I'm sure some people who are, if you're blessed with a gift of knowing, doing good. You also have people who are blessed with evil spirits. Sometimes I say, I don't think that because I was raised in a certain way in Christian stuff, but I do believe there are some people who are evil. So because some of the things you hear that people do is like, wow, So, but I'm not a psych NP. I'm a family nurse practitioner, but I'm also trained to diagnose certain mental illnesses and all that. And then I also work along with the psych NP or the psychiatrist and all that. But I'm the medical part. So before the psych people get involved in all that, We also, and then some people who are dual diagnoses, and also we have to complete work and all, and also some psych medications. You have to do your EKG, your cardiogram, electrocardiogram, and all that, because some of the psych medications can also affect the heart. We also have to do some blood work because some psych medications also affect the liver. So as I'm seeing these patients for their medical issues, and also I'm also writing, ordering these tests and all, because I have to be aware I'm also taking care of the same patients. And some patients out there too who go see the psychiatrist. Seeing the psychiatrist, the doctor then just orders medication. They'll talk to you, but they order the medications. The psychologist is the one that does the talk therapy. So the psychiatrist, sometimes they say it's too expensive to go see the psychiatrist, and also you see a psychiatrist maybe 1 or 2 times, and then you follow up with your family doctor, and which would be me, family provider, and I can continue with the medications and all, because if I'm writing the medications, I'm also have to be aware of the side effects and all. So yeah, family nurse practitioner, but we're also trained to, I know I have to know everything about the human body, everything and all that, but I also work in collaboration with the psych people, the psych team. So basically that's where I am. But yeah. Am I taking referrals? I'm not. I don't work as a primary care provider right now. I'm a hospitalist. I work in a facility. So hopefully I'm trying to get a part-time job where I can also work on the side and still be able to see people, because I used to love that. I used to love having patients who couldn't, they didn't get along with certain people, not get along, but when they came in, they're like, oh wow, you see somebody who looks like me, somebody who has my lived experience and all that too. So that kind of helps, especially in the day and time where we're trying to so let me just leave that alone. But yeah, but no, hopefully someday, but there are a lot of good psych NPs out there, a lot of people, family nurse practitioner, all that too are out there, depending on where you live. So I think I got everybody. Let's see, put in my glasses. By the way, if you wear glasses, Juju has a winter of voodoo, Juju, witchcraft, and also, but yeah, but I use my friends are watching on here too. Former coworker told one of my grandmother said, if you ever have dead duck, if you put it under the pot and put some ashes around it and you beat that duck and all that, it turns into a snake. And they're like, oh my goodness. I never saw it, but that's the way I grew up, learning certain things. And like I said, I still believe in those things. So they kind of help, but sometimes I'm like, I just put it to the side yet, put it to the side, and I have to remind my people to it. Like, okay, let's put that to the side. Let's just concentrate on things that are evidence based. Not saying that it's not, like it's email, like I said, we have all these leaves and different potions and lotions back home. But if we had the money and we had the lab to do clinical testing and clinical trials, trust me, Africa would be so much farther than where it is right now. But everything else that goes along with it. They don't put the money into scientific research, and also, of course, other people will come take those same fewer leaf and take the bambata and the cassava and sit there and make different medications, and we go back and have to buy it from them because they have the money and they put the money into research and all. So let me see. Oh my God. It's much longer than I wanted to be in here. But thank you all so much for watching. If you're new here, please give me a like. Please give me a follow. And tell everybody that I'm on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, meaning what time it is in New York. And I do Abby's Daily Dose during the week. So if you're not a member of Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page, please click the like and follow, because I do short videos during the week. It's like 90 seconds and all that. And every once in a while I come on the weekend, but not all the time. But most of the time I'm in here, and I try to do hot topics here and there. And we go into the month of May. So it's like, Stroke Awareness Month. So we'll be talking about that. But thank you all for watching, and let's continue the conversation in the comment section after I get off. Okay. So thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for the comments, and you guys have been great tonight. So again, just the bottom line, please do not use the internet to diagnose yourself or diagnose your family member, or just think that you know what's going on with somebody simply by their behavior, because there's so much more that goes into diagnosing somebody. Okay, regardless of what it's like, medical or mental, all of that, there's so much more that goes into that. And for us who are people who are diagnosing people, okay, our words carry a lot of weight. So that's why if you see us not getting into certain conversations, this new thing now is a suction cup, where I saw where they put that on the breast, and people who are small breasted, and then they suck it up, and then they and I'm like, oh my God. And this person was like, I guess they're licensed in Liberia to do it. I don't even know. I know I was following the chat and it was saying that somebody's going to go investigate. That's so not safe. But every country has its own regulations and all that. So But thank you all for watching again. Like I said, let's continue the conversation in the comment section, and I go back and I read different comments and all, and I respond to it later on. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks again. And again, Facebook is like deleting most of the videos now. So I also broadcast to YouTube, so you can go there on the Abby Tyler's How to Living page, the same name, and then you can just watch it from there. Okay, so all those videos that I put in here is on YouTube too. All right, so thank you all for watching, and you take care, stay healthy, stay safe. Good night.